You alluded earlier to sacrifices that you had to make for your family and for yourself as a couple. And a lot of women these days, they don't want to make sacrifices, or they're afraid of the word sacrifice itself as something that they'll lose out on. Describe what kind of sacrifices that you had made before that were actually beneficial in the long term for your relationship.
Well, I'll start with when we were still living in New York, we had put a deposit on a home. We were going to be buying a house right around the corner from his parents' house when they decided they were going to be moving to Florida, and we found out we were pregnant. And we had to have a really difficult conversation about whether or not we were going to continue on and buy this house. And I was going to have to go back to work when the baby was 6 weeks old so that we could afford this house, or if we were going to lose our deposit and allow me to stay home with our children. And from the time I was in college and I got to babysit for my cousin and all of her friends who were all stay-at-home moms, I had never been exposed to that concept before going away to college. We made a really difficult decision that we were going to keep me home and he was going to do whatever he had to do in order to make that work. And over those next few months, we picked up, we moved to Florida, we stayed with his parents, and he worked 7 days a week for 2 years, from 6 in the morning till 10 at night, working, until we could get ourselves situated and start our family the way we really wanted to start our family, was with me home with the baby. And that was really difficult. We didn't have money. We were talking about what we were gonna do, like once we got into our first little house, what are we gonna do if the electricity gets shut off? What are we gonna do if we can't afford food? Like, what are our priorities? But keeping me home with the kids was such a high priority for us that, and he worked so hard, and incrementally we were able to move our way up. And I look back at it now and I'm like, we know it was by the grace of God that it all worked out, but I could have just gone back to work. I could have just put my kid in daycare, and we could have just, started our family that way. But it was that important to us that we made that sacrifice. And now looking back, I couldn't imagine not having been home with my kids. Now homeschooling them and having those moments, knowing that I was the one that fed them and nursed them and took care of them and provided that foundation for them. There's nothing that could have replaced that.
Yeah. And so, when you use the word sacrifice, that means that there's something that you're giving up. You need to have something to sacrifice. And it's unique because we didn't have anything. There really was nothing to sacrifice in a way. So a lot of couples who get together, say in their mid-20s or 30s, well, they already have their own bank accounts. They already have their own cars. They have their own careers. They have their own stuff. Maybe they have, I had nothing of my own. I had just left my parents' house. She had nothing of her own. So rather than, you use the word sacrifice, and that makes a lot of sense, but we had nothing to sacrifice except for time, love, attention, and commitment. And so I think that's a part of the reason why we were able to have such longevity in our relationship and to do so well, because there was never this sense of, well, I'm giving up something here, or she's giving up the potential for something there. It was like, this is what's meant to be, and we're starting out at the bottom together. And so that's the way it began.
I had a similar experience when I was young. In my early 20s, my father was the dumbest person I'd ever met, and by the time I was 40, I couldn't believe how smart he'd gotten.
Yeah.
And one of the things he told me was, you need to be free to make mistakes and learn from them. Yeah, you know, he said there are three kinds of people: people that can learn from others, people that have to learn for themselves, and people that can't learn at all, right? He's like, be the first two at least, right? You know, I've seen a lot of men in marriages where their wives don't let them make mistakes, and they have interpreted leadership to mean you never err.
Right.
So that if you ever err, then you have no right to leadership.
Right.
Right? Can you discuss kind of how you dealt with that in your marriage, and what advice you might give to young couples about that?
Well, I think that's more for her because I make errors.
He makes errors. For me, I always go back to the fact that I am his wife, not his mother. My job is not to teach him. My job is not to discipline him. My job is not to, you know, slap him on the wrist when he does something wrong or makes an incorrect choice or a bad decision. My job is to support him, to encourage him, to give him any strength when he does not feel like he has enough. When he's feeling like uncertain, to say, just make the choice. Whatever the choice is, make the choice and it will be okay. I think letting him make the decisions, letting him make the big choices, knowing it comes from an intention of love and purity and just wanting good for our family, it gives him the opportunity to show himself, to show who he really is, to show where his heart is. And regardless of how those decisions come out, when you know it comes from a place of love and wanting good for our family, it doesn't really matter what the outcome is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A few things I might add to that is that she was warned. I told her life is going to be like a roller coaster. I know myself, and so there could be some tough times. There could be some rough times. There are going to be some great times. I never promised a rose garden or a smooth ride. It was, hey, I'm going on this wild adventure, and I'm that kind of guy where I may make some wrong decisions. But with that being said, making the wrong decision is not really the problem. It's about making that decision right. Mm-hmm. There have been a lot of times where, you know, maybe I'm steering the ship and it's not going exactly where we're supposed to go, and it's just a matter of, okay, I admit, I repent, I'm wrong, let's turn things. But one thing for sure is she'll never rub it in my face or say I told you so or insist. She'll just quietly yield to my steering of the ship, and then even if I have to admit you were right and I got to turn around, still zip. Just keeps it cool, keeps it quiet, and that gives me courage. That gives me courage to continue to make bold decisions even if they don't turn out right, and the opportunity to rack up a good track record, right? Like if you never give someone the freedom to have a track record, or you give them that one time and it's not perfect, how could you expect that person to grow and to flourish and to lead? So those are some of the things that I would add to that.
Every opportunity is there to show your strength, to show your courage, to show your right thinking. And each time you make a decision based on the goodness of our family, we wind up going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Last year, Colleen, Elliot told us a story about purchasing a vehicle. And that would have been really hard for someone like me. I don't know if I could have shut up.